So we got a bracket up front. We're going to help you keep track of it. Once they can get in, I want y'all to blow the roof off this place. Something about speed climbing, it can be driven purely by energy. We're going to need you to be quiet so they can hear the buzzers. So bring it down more like a golf energy right before they go, you know what I'm saying? And then you hear that beat, they take off, and then I want you to shake the sky with your voice. And of course, Alex and I are going to help you do that. Right now, I want to take advantage of the fact that I got a protocol understanding next to me. Someone that has some speed medals. Use speed medals. That still counts. They're made of metal. They go around the neck and into your chain.
The game has changed drastically. My youth world championship medals, I think the wall is 20 feet high and it's a straight jump. So the cool thing about speed, I think, is that the grip is always safe. It's like running around a track, and that's what makes it so easy.
There's Ali Porchena on the left, Bassam on the right. Both explode out of the blocks and Bass out a small lead, but it looks like Razor's just about reined him in, and he takes it 5.48. New world record, Razor Ali Porchena.
Welcome to Speed here in Salt Lake City. There are some very, very fast athletes here this weekend. We might just get to see a world record get broken.
This is our target to come to Salt Lake City. The first one, we must break the world record. It's very important for us because we not get a ticket for Tokyo, so we preparing for Paris 2024. So it's very important for us. Yeah, mission complete.
Back-to-back World Cups here in Salt Lake City. I'm Pete Woods, joined by Megan Martin. Tonight, we have the Speed Final. Speed is simple in concept, but in execution, Megan, it is anything but.
Exactly, Pete. It's very interesting because it's the only discipline of climbing where you actually get to rehearse all the time what you're going to do. But even though it's rehearsed, anything can happen. There's so much power involved with speed climbing, and athletes slip, fall, false start. All these things can happen at different times, so they need to be so efficient on every run.
And when it goes absolutely right, we get world records. Because we have a time sport, because the wall is so precisely measured, we can have world records, and we do. The current women's world record is 6.9 seconds, and the current men's record set today in the qualifiers is 5.25. So keep an eye on those clocks, and we're going to get into the speed event. We go round of 16, quarterfinal, semifinal, small final, big final. Winner moves on, loser steps out.
Expecting it to be a very exciting competition, as you said before, and you all watched that highlight video, hopefully, of Kiramal Katibin making that new world record for the men earlier today. We're hoping to continue to see awesome things happen on the speed wall tonight.
Absolutely. We're going to go down in pairs. So, like a normal bracket, if you've watched most other bracketed events, you go first place versus 16th, and then we go second versus 15th. That's the way they play off, but that's not the order they go in. So we'll walk you through it. We're with you the whole way. We're going to start off with our first pairing here in lane A. We have Alexandra Mirosław, and in lane B, we've got Brooke Rabitu.
And Alexandra had some great qualification runs today. I think they were definitely not as fast as her personal best, but they were very close. Her qualification time was a 7.2. Personal best is 7.12.
There you go, Alexandra on your left. Off to a great start. Brooke strong in the middle, but it's going to be Alexandra. 7.8 seconds for Alexandra.
really clean runs by both women. That's always what you want to see in a speed event. And with this head-to-head way of racing, it's a little different because, you know, you just have to beat your opponent. So a lot of times we don't see the fastest times from the athletes. Usually those are put up in the qualifiers because your goal here is just to win your heat.
Absolutely. Pay attention to the start. So there is a timing plate on the floor for these climbers, and that's what triggers whether or not we've got an on-time start or a false start. So there is a time that comes up. It's a pressure pad. So as soon as you start to step up, it registers that you've left the ground. Anything registered shorter than 1/10 of a second is a false start on the route. So you will see that number come up, and you'll see the red and hear the buzzer. And a false start, Megan, serious consequences.
Serious consequences with a false start. You are out of the competition. Unfortunately, earlier today, we saw that from Tomoa Narasaki. When he went to do his first qualification run, he false started, and he is not in this competition later tonight. On the left, we have Kyra Kondi from the US, and on the right, Anouk Jobert from France.
Ready?
Great start from both ladies.
Very fast reaction time from Anouk Jobert. Really nice flow through this section. Slip for Kyra. Great run for Anouk.
0.1.
Again, a time that's not Anouk Jobert's fastest, but again, we're just trying to win the heats here in order to move on to the next round. But all you ever want, especially in the final, is clean runs. Great reaction times, not too fast, not too slow, and nice clean runs with no slips, and really hitting that pad at the top, that buzzer pad, because oftentimes people will go up short to it, or not oftentimes, but sometimes it does happen where if you don't have enough power at the top and you miss that pad, then all of a sudden you don't have a time.
Your time doesn't register, and because that last move is so dynamic, they're in the air. There's no recovery from missing the pad. You will see them slip in the middle, try and get back their feet under them and continue on that run. Every now and then you're going to get that excitement where someone slips and then the other competitor slips. You've seen people slip and come back. Anything can happen in speed, that's for sure. So you don't take your eye off the prize. Sometimes you'll see the other athlete notice their competitor has slipped. They'll slow up a bit so as not to make a mistake, but it leaves them open to getting caught. And man, the excitement factor is it's high.
I always like to say it's not over till it's over. You have to stay so present in all disciplines of climbing, but especially in speed. On the left, lane A from France, Capucine Viglione, and on the right, Callie Close in lane B from the USA.
Ready?
Same reaction time that time, both starting off really explosive.
Right through the middle here. Capucine is going to take that one home just ahead of Callie Close.
Little slip there at the end for Callie Close, but they were pretty neck and neck. And that's what you'll see too as we get to the middle section when the times are actually closer together from the qualification. The races will be much closer. Here's a little overhead view of both of those women. You'll see in about a second, Callie's going to have a little slip as Capucine ends up being able to stay clean all the way through her run.
Just that last move going to the buzzer. You'll see as you watch a little bit more of the round that there is a lot of technique to speed climbing. The speed route has been the same, and it is exactly the same in every event, in every gym that people train at. It's been the same for many, many years now. So people are getting better and better and better. And they've worked out new sequences. They don't touch all the holds. You see a lot of black smears on the wall. They smear on purpose because the vertical movement is more efficient than the lateral movement left to right between the holds. So you want to keep moving straight up as directly as possible. Keep your feet under you. Paddling, swimming, just keep moving upwards. Well, on the left, you have Pertsutia Chudziak, and on the right, you have Tetiana Kolkotina from the Ukraine.
Ready?
Again, really nice reaction times. Very close and exploding. Patricia really taking
Moving
away.
really well.
Very clean run from Patricia Hutsiak, which, interestingly enough, when Yulia Kaplina made that world record run, she was racing Patricia Hutsiak. So she's been in some pretty
tight races.
Very tight races
And
where
that time,
exciting things happen.
Yeah, and that time was just slightly better than her time in qualifications this morning. So maybe just getting better every run.
And that's what you really want in speed specifically is consistency. That's one thing that's really difficult to gain in speed, and that's where you see a seasoned speed competitor really excel in that consistency aspect.
And as you were saying earlier about the slip, when you're in a sport where you're trying to push the very, very limit every time and you're trying to move as quickly as possible, you are going to have those and you don't have to miss by a lot to slip enough to not win a speed run. So precision, but always, always on the edge. I feel like they're tiptoeing along disaster every time they start on those start holds. And it's worth having a look. Not every climber starts the same. Emma Hunt on your left and Akio Noguchi on your right. Watch their hand placement. Some of them match the start, the bottom start hold. You can do whatever you want with your hands on that pair of start holds. 1 foot must remain on that starting pad you see there, and 1 foot on the wall.
Ready?
Great starts again from both women. Emma really taking off here.
Slip from Akio. I don't think she's going to be able to recover.
There, but Emma really taking it away with a 7.611. Now she set a new national record earlier today with 7.52, so a little slower than what she ran earlier, but nice mid-7 consistency. Really explosive right from the start, and Emma just really didn't slow down at all, and her foot placements are actually perfect.
Yeah.
I always think it's interesting. She does a nice like drop knee back step that always lands on the foothold, and I find that to be so impressive.
Yeah, it's so well rehearsed, and by the time you are willing and ready to compete at this level, you have put in hundreds of runs on the speed wall, hundreds. Some gyms, they have the sections broken down. So you work on the start, you just can pull on the start and then step off. They have the middle section broken out so you can practice your sequence in the middle section. Speed climbing is becoming a science of technique, trying to shave tenths of seconds off. And we had some breakthroughs in style over the years, both of which resulted in huge decreases in the times getting posted. On the left, you have Janja Garnbret, who was not here last weekend. And on your right, you have Alexandra Elmer from Austria. Janja, pretty good times this morning.
Ready?
Low 8s.
Really nice reactions from both women. Little stumble there at the beginning for Janja, but she's trying to gain her speed back. She really just needs 2 slips that just she couldn't recover from. Really disappointing too, because that 8.36 that she ran during qualifiers was her new personal best. And prior to coming here, she was training in Texas specifically for speed.
She's trying to add that combined element as we go into the Olympics.
Exactly.
So you see here, she had a little slip and then maybe just going a bit too fast to try and recover the extra time. And there, the right foot just missing, not giving her the push you need right in that middle pop.
And that's something that I've found watching some of the speed athletes that have been, speed specialists for a while. Their recovery is a bit better, whereas for Janja, she's spent a lot of time over the last couple years getting better and better at speed, and we're seeing her times drop for sure, but that recovery is something that you need to have more time practicing actually competing speed in order to recover efficiently. So it's really nice to see her dropping those times. Unfortunate that she couldn't make that happen in this round recovering, but
she
good
did
run.
come off with a smile, which is good to see.
Always good.
And you know that she's looking forward to bouldering.
A great run from Alexandra Elmer. Very clean. On the left, we have Natalia Kowalska and Laura Steckler on the right from Austria. Natalia Kowalska from Poland.
Ready?
Nice reaction from Natalia, but almost a fall from Laura.
Yeah, I
Good
think she
save.
just caught herself on the way back
And
down.
Natalia also slipping again at the top, and that's where you never want to give up, because just because someone is going through the run clean doesn't mean that they're not going to stumble later. So even if you're almost falling off the wall, as we saw Laura do, she still was able to save it, and it was smart because Natalia slips again here on the left. Just kind of slows down. She resets and, had Laura been able to readjust faster, it could have changed the whole race.
Absolutely.
So you got to stick with it to the end.
Yep.
But great run from Natalia Kowalska.
Okay, our last pairing. This is how fast speed climbing goes. Our last pairing of the round of 16 coming out onto the wall now, and this is going to be 6th place versus 11th place, I believe.
So should be still a pretty close race between these two. They're both in the mid-8s.
Here we get Franziska Ritter will be on your left, And then Miho Nanaka will be on your right. Yeah, 8.58 Miho put in her qualifying round, and Francisca 8.3. So
Pretty close.
2/10, pretty close.
Should be exciting.
Yeah, not a lot to give up on 2/10 of a second.
And both their personal bests.
Ready?
Nice
starts.
reaction. Miho had a little stumble. Actually, they both kind of
Neck
did.
and
They're
neck here.
very much mirroring one another
This is
currently.
going to come down to the buzzer.
Oh,
Oh!
so close. And Miho Nanaka is going to be moving on to the next round in what was probably our closest race yet so far.
5-0 to 8.52. That is the excitement of speed climbing right there.
I believe that would be Miho's new personal best with 8.50.
A great look. They were absolutely hand in hand coming through this middle section, and just, I mean, there's nothing in it. What, a couple hundredths of a second.
They really did do the same foot adjustment at the very beginning, which is really cool to see. And this is what I'm talking about. Miho honestly barely makes that buzzer. And it's kind of a bigger jump than you think. And really, it's not even a buzzer. It's like a laser that they have to hit, make sure they're crossing it. So really important to go through it or go to it with a lot of conviction and make sure you're aggressive enough.
She got the bottom
The bottom
quarter.
bit, I feel like you couldn't have gone any
lower.
closer. Yeah.
So that's set up our quarterfinal, and we're going to go on to the men now. So they get enough of a rest, so we're going to show the women's 16, then the men's 16, then the women's quarter and the men's quarter, and you see where I'm going with this. Then we're going to have the half final. Interestingly, in speed climbing, similar to if you watch a little bit some of the skiing events, if you watch ski cross, they have what we call a small final. Because you still need to have a bronze medal position, the two losers of the semifinal will race for third and fourth position. So we call that the small final. We run it right before the final, and that's how we determine third place. So keep your eye on the clock. So on the men's side is where we're threatening world records, given that we already broke one in qualifications this morning. And in speaking with the Indonesian athletes and their coach earlier, absolutely hinted that they have more time to shave off of what was shown today. So they are, I'm not going to say expecting, but they're absolutely hoping to break the record that they broke this morning of 5.25. The question that floats around the speed community is, can we go sub 5 seconds over 15 meters?
I think so.
I think it's out there. It's out there.
It's definitely out there. And on the right, we have Guillaume Moreau. And then on the left side, lane A, is the new world record holder, Kiramal Katibin. And let's see if he can put down another fast time. Again, it's so hard in the head-to-head because it's not just about putting up the fastest time. You really can't afford to mess up. You need to make sure you have a clean run and win your heat to move on. But, I mean, it would be so exciting to see another record broken here today.
And the word you're going to want to bring to mind here when you're watching Kiramal climb is smooth.
So smooth.
He doesn't look like he stops or needs to generate momentum. It's just one continuous motion.
Nice reaction times for both men. Kiramal
Acceleration
to a
in the
very
middle.
quick start. 5, 4, 9, 8. A wonderful, wonderful first run.
Yeah.
See, I mean, to be going in the low fives like that consistently, I mean, it's so impressive to see. Really explosive. He uses the Tomoe Narasaki Beta, that really explosive hand-foot match at the beginning. That's honestly dropped a lot of athletes' times over the past year. So many athletes have switched to that method.
We'll point it out to you. The thing to look at is the third of the main holds. So the two start holds that are paired together on the right side, and then the first hold that they go to. Keep your eye on the athletes looking for a hand-foot match there, and it sends them much more straight up the wall rather than a move to the left to the hold that's just beside that one, where then you have to traverse back to the middle. So Tomoe Narasaki basically was the first, pioneered this hand-foot match that almost all of the male competitors and a significant portion of the female competitors have adopted. So keep a look at that and just watch the way it changes that acceleration.
In lane A, from Italy, Ludovico Fasali, and in lane B, Pierre Rebreon.
Ready?
Nice starts from both men. Two different betas if you were able to catch that.
You're catching it.
Very, very close.
Just at
Wow.
the end, it looked like maybe that Ludovico was going to catch him, and then Pierre, very explosive out of those last two moves.
It's really nice race from both men. They were so efficient, and that, I mean, obviously you want to win your heat, but if you can just be so efficient, I mean, they were neck and neck the whole time.
Yeah.
Neither of them really stumbled at all on the wall. They're hitting each foot placement perfectly. So those are the kind of runs you want.
We did get a good example. You saw on the left, the
Ludovico
Ludovico stepped on the third foothold that you see, and slightly taller climbers tend to do that, and the slightly shorter climbers tend to use the Tomoa skip, as it has been nicknamed, because you're skipping one of the holds and a foothold on the route.
And I believe what beta that Ludovico used was the Reza beta.
The first change in the just
From the
climb the route.
original.
When we climbed the speed route in 10 or 11 seconds and then got it down to 7 or 8,
Yeah.
that was the first breakthrough.
And Reza was previously the record holder until today.
Until from 2017, that record has stood.
Until today, yep.
Yeah.
On the left, we have Marcin Jensky from Poland, and on the right, Michael Finn-Henry from USA.
The sun's gone down behind the building behind us. The sun's been on the wall all day, but now we're in the shade. Good
Nice
start from
from
Michael.
both of them. And Michael really taking off here. See,
Oh.
such an unfortunate slip there, but this is why it's so important to stay in your race. Marcin just kept going, didn't even know. I mean, you can see the other athletes out of the corner of your eye, but it's so important to really just stay focused. Really explosive from Michael, a little ahead at the beginning here, and then that slip right there just got him. But Marcin Jensky able to keep it together and walk away with the win. On to the next round for him.
You talk to some of the athletes and they'll tell you that they look to their left or their right and see who they're racing against, and it puts a little bit of fear, a little bit of motivation into you. And then some will say, no, it doesn't matter who they're racing against. They just have to put their head down and run as fast as they can every single time. On your right from Japan, we're going to have Jun Yasukawa. And he's going to be up against, on the left side, Konstantin Pavlenko from the Ukraine.
And this is Jun Yasukawa's first ever World Cup event, first ever IFSC speed event, I believe. Very new to the circuit, so to be in a final at his first event, very exciting.
Yeah, very exciting.
Ready?
Nice starts, both of them using that Tomoa skip method.
Good here through
Very
the middle.
good. Oh, that must be a personal best for him.
6.1 is, that's fantastic. Absolutely great run. He was close. He was 6.2 coming out of the qualifiers. That is a great run from Jun.
Really nice flow there. Jun hitting every foothold perfectly and every handhold that he used perfectly as well. And that's really, again, what you want. You just don't want to end up missing any hold. And, all of these athletes rehearse this in their minds. They've done it so many times physically, but still we see slips happen. So when you have those runs that are so smooth like that, and then you're able to put up a personal best in the final, in your first time in a final.
Yeah, that's putting a bunch of the pieces together at the same time.
Definitely.
And you pay attention to the speed athletes. They don't look down.
No.
So they're not looking down at their feet. Maybe when you go and climb a normal route, you spend a lot of time making sure your footwork is good. This is all muscle memory, a little bit of peripheral vision, and a lot of muscle memory. Have a look on your left here from Indonesia, Vedrik Leonardo, teasing for a world record, and Linus Bader from Germany on your right, just up against one of the best.
Great reaction time slip there from Linus, but Vedrik's going to keep it going, trying to get another low time. 5.5. I mean, he's been in the fives all week. I mean, it's funny because the talk before this event, everyone's been talking about how both Indonesian athletes have been going low fives just at the gyms, in practice here. And it's so nice to see them be able to put it together in the qualification and then now in the final, those same times each time they get on the wall to be that consistent is really impressive.
It is very, very impressive. And they are speed specialists. And if you just caught the interview in the lead-in, they've been training together. So they've had that head-to-head competition over the last year. And because there is no, they didn't qualify there. They don't climb lead, they don't climb boulder, they're not in the other events, so they're not in the combined in the Olympics in Japan this year, but they have a focus on France in 2024, where speed will be separated out as its own medal event, and you will have the combined will be lead and boulders. So the speed specialists are, they're looking a little further ahead, and they're just a little bit more time to master their craft here.
Exactly, they definitely have their eye on 2024. On the left from Italy, Gianluca Zoda, and on the right, Yaroslav Tkach from the Ukraine.
So similar PBs, 2/10 is
pretty close.
Pretty close. It seems like a mile away sometimes in speed climbing, but it's pretty close.
Ready?
Ooh, very fast reaction times. That slip there for Gianluca, not
Come back in the
ideal.
middle.
Yaroslav never letting up, not giving him a chance.
No, not opening the door at all.
Really nice climbing there from Yaroslav Tkach. He's going to be very happy to be walking into that next round, or really running into the
He's not going to be
next
super psyched to be up against Vedrik, but he'll be happy to have made it through. You see here, really good work through that last third of this route, and really I think the speed athletes break it down in thirds. There's the start, the middle section where you really see them accelerate, and then the top section is quite a bit more dynamic, the moves between the holds. So really doing well to hang on in that final third.
Nice to see that overhead view too. You can see that, I mean, though the holds are somewhat deep, they're not as juggy as people might think they are.
Exactly.
You have to be very strong still to be able to climb this route, let alone run it very fast.
From France on your right, you're going to have Michael Mauem. And from the USA on your left, you're going to have John Brosler. John qualified in third. You were saying he's consistently been one of the best U.S. speed climbers, and currently holds the American speed record.
And he said it again today. He's had it, and he just set a new record today with the 5.6. And yeah, John Brosler's been kind of the leader in speed for the U.S. for a long time, but he's never made a podium, so he's going to want to have a clean run here.
Good start. Mikael Mauer is fast through the middle, but John holds him off.
Wow, that was a super close race, and there's no room for error, both athletes being so clean. And I love to see races like that, because it almost feels like, because they're both so on, it's pushing them to just go so fast.
Yeah.
And you kind of see that here. Mikael really kind of picks up in the middle. It almost looked like he was going to have him. That slip at the end just cost him the moving on to the next round.
It's the explosive start from John, and then the lanky Mikael just right here. He starts to catch up, and you're right. I wonder if, I don't think he would have caught him, but
it would have been
in
just
his mind,
closer.
he's thinking that slip, or I would have had you.
Yeah, great runs from both athletes, though. On the left, we have Carlos Granja from, not Ecuador.
Carlos is from, he's from Ecuador.
He's from Ecuador, yeah.
Correct.
My bad, everybody.
Not
and on
even
the
though.
right, I mean,
You were correctly
I was
your
already
bad.
correcting myself that I was wrong. And then on the right, we have Merritt Ernsberger from the USA, who this is his first Speed World Cup. He's new to the circuit scene after just winning the team trials in speed, beating out John Brosler, actually.
There you go. And this is the
If that says
8v11
anything.
spot. This is close. They both have good personal bests. They were close in their times, 6:03 and 6:19. This could be a good one. Merritt off to an excellent start.
A little slow on that
Carlos
hand
with a
foot
slip.
match from Carlos, but able to recover. Slip from Merritt as well, but good recovery.
And Carlos, as you said, he came back and turned it on. If Merritt had made any mistakes, Carlos would have been right there waiting to take him on.
I have seen this a lot from some of the athletes that have switched to that Tomoa skip method. Sometimes when they do that hand-foot match at the beginning, they kind of pull out of it slow, just like we saw Carlos do there. And then he kind of was out of the flow. And so when you're not at the right height for each movement, that's when you have those opportunities to slip. But good recovery, and because then again, Merritt slipped as well. So really nice climbing.
And it is important, as you say, that once you're off your rhythm a little bit, because the timing is so rehearsed, You are not stopping and thinking and pushing and pulling on all the holds. You are using them as you go by to continually move your momentum forward. So if you are not generating the force you're expecting, you're going to come up short on the next hold and then the one after that. So it can compound itself very, very quickly in speed. And because it's the second move that is where you have this ability to do this hand-foot match, and if you're just a bit too compressed and you can't generate the force or you collapse too deep into your knee, I mean, next time you you do a deep one-legged squat or a high step up, just recognize how difficult it is to generate power from full compression, and that's what these athletes are doing on that move. And the margin of error means that if you come up just a little bit short, then now you're playing catch up with your body, and your hand movements aren't quite what they expect. And
then, I mean, hopefully you can recover by just pulling harder, but that doesn't always work, and then you just find yourself kind of playing catch up throughout your entire run. And then you're hoping that maybe someone, you can't really pay attention to what's happening next to you, but you're hoping you haven't lost, right? You're hoping that you're still in the game as you try and fight to recover. Great look at the crowd here in Salt Lake City. It's nice to have a crowd back. And it's been great to see that all of the Salt Lake City locals are excited to come out and watch all of these events this weekend and last weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great way to kick off a weekend of World Cup climbing, is to be under the lights, shortly under the lights as the sun is going down. It's nice and warm out still here, cool enough for the athletes. They were practicing in the other meetings in the sort of the heat of that 5 o'clock, and they'll be happy to be out here a little bit cooler. Conditions are good. And everyone's moving very, very quickly. So now we're into the quarterfinal, just like that. Alexandra Miroslav on the left and Anouk Jobert from France on the right.
Ready?
Good start from Anouk.
Wow, kind of neck and neck here. See,
who's going to have the finish?
Picking it up a little bit there.
Just at the end.
Yep, the last third of the route, she really, you notice her feet starting to move so much faster, and that power that she has in her legs, and that was able to propel her just a little bit above Anouk.
You're talking about a speed climber here with 14 podiums in her career, but no world record times. So she is obviously an excellent competitor, very quick, but not the fastest in the world. Look at that. You can see that. I mean, Anouk just gave everything there, and only just behind.
And again, this is the kind of run you want. You don't want to be thinking back, oh, I slipped there. I wasn't efficient enough. I feel like it's easier to swallow. I just wasn't fast enough. I had a great run. I can walk away knowing that I laid it all out there. I tried my hardest. I was super efficient, and I just wasn't fast enough that time.
Yeah, you ran up against somebody who was just a little bit quicker than you, and you put in a PB and someone beats you, what are you going to do, right?
Be excited about that PB.
Yeah, exactly.
Patricia Hutsiak on the right.
On the right, I believe, yeah.
And Capucine Viglione on the left. Both women probably taking their last moments of visualization before approaching the wall.
Yeah, you got to find your space when you're looking to go explosive.
Ready?
Great reaction from both women. A little slip there for Capucine, but Patricia not slowing down.
Just a little bit more careful here at the top to ensure, and unfortunately for Capucine, a slip right out of the gate. And that is where we see the majority of slips in the speed climbing come in the first couple of moves, and then there's a big gap in the middle where we see a few more. You kind of have a smear dyno to deal with. Both had great starts, an explosive start from Capucine, and we'll watch on the left, see.
She just misses that foot as she's trying to do that hand-foot match with the Tomoa skip, which is something we see often with that method. If you're not powerful enough or don't have the foot efficiency, you'll find a slip. But great run on the right from Patricia. Never slowed down, kept her flow the entire time. Efficient foot places.
A really good look at the intricacy of the footwork involved in the speed route. You would be wrong to think that all of the footholds are, I mean, as you see on your screen here, that's as big as they get when you're not stepping on the handhold. So you're not just running up the biggest holds you've ever seen. It's a precise game, climbing speed, and even if you're just a bit to the left or a bit to the right, again, as we were saying earlier, you don't get the power you were expecting, you can throw yourself off. Emma Hunt on the left and Alexandra Elmer on the right.
foot down low, but it didn't seem to slow her down. 7.627.
Great run.
So close to her PR, or personal best, depending on what you like to choose. Personal record, personal best.
Yeah. That's a really good run from the American.
Super explosive right out of the start. Now it looked like here, I think it should be right here, she misses the foot. She kind of smears underneath. I think sometimes she actually hits the foot. I might have to pay more attention to that next time and see if that's something she does more often. But didn't slow her down. She was able to keep going and really finish off strong.
And a pretty good run from Alexandra beside her.
Oh, yeah.
No real mistakes per se, just unable to keep up with the quicker Emma.
And going into that run, Alexandra had her personal best time is in the 8s, and so Emma being in the 7s, it was going to be difficult to catch her, but she definitely gave it a good shot.
So we've got Miho Nanaka will be on your right, and Natalia Kawucka will be on your left from Poland.
And Natalia actually does have a sister, Alexandra, who is also a very fast speed climber. So you could say speed climbing runs in their family.
In the blood, yes.
Ready?
Good reaction, both of them using that to skip. A little bobble there down low for Natalia. And Miho is taking
Turning
her
it
chance
up.
to possibly move into the semifinal, and she
She's
will
psyched.
do it.
Miho Nanaka takes advantage of Natalia's little slip and just powers her way to make it into that semifinal.
And that is, I believe, another personal best for Miho.
8.2.
Having a great day so far, really explosive from both of them. Little slip here for Natalia, and Miho takes her chance to just run away with it and stay efficient with every foot placement on this run and move into that semifinal. And honestly, for Miho, this is great going forwards with the Olympics, because speed is something she's going to have to do in that combined event. So to become more and more efficient in speed is only going to help her, since her bouldering is so strong, and lead is also another discipline that she's quite good at.
So that sets up our semi-finals. We're going to have Alexandra Mirosław is going to be against Patricia Huciak, and then you're going to have Emma Hunt against Miho Nanaka. So a couple of Polish climbers going head-to-head. They are consistently putting up some of the best times on the women's side for speed.
Definitely are. And look here at the men's quarterfinal, which we're about to see, where we have Kiramal Katibin going against Pierre Reprion, and Marcin Jensky against Jun Yasukawa, Frederick Leonardo against Yaroslav Tkach, and John Brosler against Merritt Ernsberger. This will be a rematch from Team Trials.
From Team Trials, a little U.S. head-to-head.
Great for the Salt Lake crowd.
Yeah, exactly. And you almost feel like the U.S. is a bit of an up-and-comer or a late arriver to the speed scene. They haven't had speed specialists cracking the podiums on the World Cup, but they are bringing the times down.
It's definitely been a huge focus with the USA Climbing. Coaches have been trying to focus on really building that speed team. And, with the combined, so many of the athletes have had to start training speed as well. So they've taken a really, really great step towards creating some great speed athletes. On your left, you have Kiramal Katibin going against Pierre Reprion. Now remember, Kiramal put up a new world record earlier and is consistently in the low 5s. Looks like there is a false start.
And this is big. False starts are critical.
Kiramal is going to keep climbing as Pierre Rebrion had a false start, with that .096 being lower than .100. So that is why he is going to end up with a false start and have to be disqualified from the competition. Really upsetting to have that false start. He just jumped the beep a little too early.
And then it's only just, I mean, you see, he doesn't, to our eye, he doesn't leave before the light goes green, but it's anything within that 1/10 of a second.
He was so close too. It was .096. I mean,
That is that's about as close as you're going to
yeah.
get.
Kiramal looking back to double check if he should finish climbing, which, yes, he should finish climbing.
Yes, absolutely. You
Don't wanna fall.
never know.
You just keep
never
climbing.
know.
Ready?
Marcin Jensky on the left and Jun Yasukawa on the right.
Great start from both climbers. Marcin with a little bit quicker in the middle. He's going to take
Really
it home
nice
over
time,
June.
too.
June looks a little disappointed. I wonder if he thinks he had a slip there. Or if he just came up against a faster climber.
Nice start there.
Yeah, and you see June, I don't think he made any mistakes.
He just wasn't as fast as Marcin. Marcin really attacked it
Yeah.
on this run
Really
and was
went
able
after
to
it.
keep it going.
Okay, we are down to the last 2 pairings from the quarterfinal. On your left, we are going to have Vedrik Leonardo from Indonesia.
And on the right, Yaroslav Tkac from the Ukraine. You'll notice a lot of the athletes closing their eyes and just visualizing running through that speed route one more time before they face the wall, taking those deep breaths before they're going to be so explosive as they start their runs.
Ready?
Really fast reactions. Oh my gosh, Frederick really going for it here. Explosive,
5.4.
extremely fast. Just absolutely attacking the speed route. It honestly looked like he jumped from the each section. He basically put it in thirds and jumped first third, second third, and then was done. It almost looked like he flew up the wall. Another great time for him this competition.
I mean, and that's a time that would have beaten the previous world record.
Exactly. I mean, that's so exciting to be seeing that happen so many times today.
You look at the efficiency of movement, the lower body moving almost independently from the upper body, reaching out to catch those footholds.
Here's a close-up there of Yaroslav just being a little bit inefficient as he tried to throw his foot up onto one of those smaller holds again with a slip, and Vedrik just taking it away and never looking back.
And you watching that last third where those 3 footholds are way out to the right, how precise his foot placement are. So, U.S. against U.S. John against Merritt. You got to give me a prediction. Who's going to take this one?
So at team trials, what happened was John was a little too explosive at the beginning, and Merritt was able to take away, or was able to just keep going and not slip at all. And so if John's efficient, he'll likely be the one who walks away because he is faster, but
you never know.
You never know.
A great start from John on the left. Merritt giving it his all, though.
Little
He's gonna
double
fight
there by
for it.
John, but he's able to make it happen.
A really good effort from Merritt. I think he just matched his personal best there.
Let's see.
He beat it.
His actual personal best is 6:03 from the team trials event, but as far as IFSC events go, it was 6:19 from earlier today, I believe. Really explosive from the start from John Brosler. Has a little bobble, like the tiniest bobble right there.
And you see Merritt on your right uses
trying
that
to take
catch
advantage
up.
of it, and he was close. He went for it.
He absolutely did, and they're psyched for each other. That's good teammates. Love to see it.
Yes, the camaraderie in climbing never ceases to amaze me. It's one of the only sports where athletes seem to be genuinely happy for one another when they just perform well. And in a sport like speed where, you know, anything can happen at any time because slips and devastation, falls, false starts, all of it, they can happen. So when you're so smooth and you get a good race like that, it's important to be proud of yourself and proud of each other. So it's nice that they can share that.
There you go. So the semifinal is going to be set up with Kirmal Katibin versus Marcin Jasinski. And then you're going to get Vedrik Leonardo against John Brosler on the other semifinal. So we are heading towards a final with the two best climbers.
And for the women, moving on to the semifinal, we have Alexandra Miroslav and going against Patricia Hutsiak, and Emma Hunt going against Miho Nanaka. Another look at the speed wall. Those holds that never change.
Never change.
Orientations of the holds never change. Wall height, wall angle, it's all the same.
It's perfectly prescribed, down to the detail of, you know, obviously which bolt holes the holds go in, the angle of the wall, and you can buy this set. I don't think we'll get a close up, but there is a barcode on them. They are officially, measured and tested IFSC holds. So we do a presentation before the semifinal.
Expecting the Salt Lake City crowd here to get really excited for Emma Hunt. This is the best she's done in a Speed World Cup, so she'll be really excited to be here in the semifinal. Now, she hasn't been on the World Cup circuit for very long. She just became eligible a few years ago, so to do this early on in her career is very exciting.
We have Kirmal and then Marcin. Vedrik. And then last semifinalist, John Brosler.
Again, I'm expecting the Salt Lake City crowd to get really excited. So is he, and that's why he's wearing headphones to stay focused.
Yep. Stay in that zone. Couple rounds to go, and we're going to crown our podiums in the first speed event of the season on the second weekend of our back-to-back World Cups here in Salt Lake City. I'm Pete Woods here with Megan Martin. Megan, it goes so quickly. I was like, we've been here all day. We watched the qualifiers. We watched the practice rounds, and you have all this build-up. And here we are. We are down to the last couple of runs. There are lots still to decide. Speed is coming down to our podium in the next couple of runs.
It is so wild that we're already here. It shouldn't surprise me because speed climbing is fast, but this discipline always does go by so fast. Another quick look at that crowd here in Salt Lake City as we take a look at those buzzers at the top.
Handprint options. It's not like they're all hitting it in the same place every time. They're a little bit all over the place.
Exactly. Another quick look at who is in that semifinal for the men. Kirmal Katibin going against Marcin Jensky and Vedrik Leonardo going against John Brosler. And then we will have our big final and our small final to come following the semifinal.
Alexandra Miroslav is going to go against Patricia Chudziak. And then you're going to have Emma Hunt and Miho Nanaka.
I always love to get to see teammates race one another. I feel like there's a different level of excitement, and I feel like there is that comfort too, because you train with somebody, so you know you can push yourself harder. I mean, you're always trying to push yourself hard,
right.
but I think going against a teammate, it's more familiar, and I feel like there's that chance for faster times to go down because of that.
And you train with someone so much, and over the last year, you've had people, if you've been training for speed and not competing, you've just been working on, and I think one of the things that people were excited about is sort of taking the cloak off we come into this event, the first speed event in a long time, and the athletes don't talk a lot about what kind of times they're posting. So some of it's a bit of a mystery. How well are you doing? And the first they see of each other is in the practice rounds on Thursday and in the qualifications. So there's definitely a little bit of, we're along the ride with you. We don't have a lot of recent data, and we don't know what people have been doing while they've been training. So this is what have you done in the last year? A couple of very, very quick Polish women. Patrycja on your right and Alexandra on your left.
And this is that fight for that big final, so another important race here, the most important to get in that final.
Great start from both Patrycja and Alexandra. Alexandra quicker in that middle third.
Really efficient with the feet there.
Yeah.
Another low 7 time, consistent low 7 times from Alexandra Mirosław. So she will be moving into that big final, which is a familiar place for her.
Very familiar.
Been on many podiums in the speed discipline. And she is also qualified for the Tokyo Olympics. So the more time she can get ending up in that first spot in speed, the better, because being a speed specialist going into the combined event, she will need to be very consistent in making the podium in ideally that #1 spot.
Yeah, the speed specialists in the combined really need to take every point they can get from their specialty. They just don't cross-train as much. They're starting to, mostly what you see is the lead and boulder athletes have been picking up speed. No. I mean, the pun was intended. The pun was intended. But the speed athletes, it's just so different. It's a much slower curve for them to pick up lead and boulder.
On the left, we have Emma Hunt from the USA, and on the right, Miho Nanaka from Japan. And Miho honestly looking so excited to be able to fight for this big final position. Nice clean start from both of them. Emma really picking up ground here. Really efficient with the feet, trying not to slow down at all. Another 7 time for Emma. Strong runs for both of them. It's a hard spot for Miho. That mid-8 time is great for Miho. She has dropped her PR multiple times today and continued actually to beat that personal best time. So this is a really nice, consistent place for her. Emma really able to pick up speed here
right
on the
here
left.
In the middle,
really just explosive in the middle. And that left foot, she does just kind of smear it. She doesn't ever really place it on that foothold. But that's some good smearing technique there.
Good work. And Miho there, a good run. No real mistakes from her. She just ran up against Emma, having a good day. It's great to see. We're going to see an American
in that big
final. That is exciting. I mean, the big final is a guaranteed podium. It's just what color is your medal going to be?
Another
really
quick look at who will be in that big final and that small final. You have Alexandra Mirosław, which should be going up against Emma Hunt. The graphics a little messed up. And Miho Nanaka going against Patrycja Huciak. And now for the men, trying to figure out who will get in the big final and the small final, as we will see Kirimal Katubin come out against Marcin Junsky. A little quick look at the archway there where the men and women come out from behind the wall. You see that they'll put on their jackets and pants if they can in between rounds. They want to make sure they can stay warm. A lot of the athletes will listen to music as well. I've always found that interesting. I personally wasn't an athlete who actually enjoyed listening to music. For whatever reason, socializing makes me calm down a little more than music does, but there are a lot of athletes, and I'd say it's more of the norm to listen to music to kind of stay in the zone, but I'm just overly social. It's a problem.
I'm calm most when I'm talking to people.
Whatever reason, it calms me down.
Yeah. And there is a warm-up. The warm-up area, as you might expect for speed, is the start of the speed route. So
exactly.
There is an 8-foot panel, 10-foot panel behind the wall, and they can pull on the start holds and bounce around. They do a lot of explosive kind of warm-up activities, a lot of springing, jumping, swinging. It is the most aggressive of the disciplines. So we are going to have Kirimal Katubin will be on your left, and Marcin Junsky will be on your right.
Marcin getting ready as Kiramal takes a few more seconds to chalk up, get that breathing under control before starting. Let's see if we can get another record here.
We're running out of time.
Really nice start from both men. Kiramal really exploding, just not slowing down. Is he going to make it happen? Not fast enough, but another low 5 time from Kiramal. Honestly, I don't think I've ever seen someone be so consistent.
Yeah.
I mean, he broke the old record multiple times today. That in and of itself, including actually breaking and setting a new record. So
And they were neck and neck until this is where the Indonesian athletes have really shown that they accelerate. They have a perfect technique through the middle section. I mean, a really great run from Marcin.
oh, it was an awesome run.
5.7 is nothing to be upset about.
And we still do have a chance to see another record. It's not the last race, so we still have the final. So
And we got one
we got
here.
one more shot. And honestly, that was a faster time than we've seen earlier in this final.
round,
So
yes.
Kiramal is definitely ramping it up now. And we'll see if in that big final he's able to make it happen.
Big test for John Brosler here against Frederic Leonardo. He also has his eye on the World Cup world record time.
And for John Brosler, a podium is something that he has his eye on. So in addition to everyone's always trying to go for that world record, but a podium is something he hasn't had before. Either has Vedrik, but this is like an earlier World Cup for him. He hasn't done as many.
Big moment for John Brosler.
Ready?
Wonderful start. Frederic here.
John kind of trying to keep up, not able to pass him, but great runs from both men.
Absolutely.
Vedrik Leonardo's going to make it into that big final, and John Brosler has a chance at the podium still in the small final.
So you see there, the smallest, when you look at the times, the smallest number that starts with a 0 is going to be their reaction time. And John actually with a quicker start here, a quicker reaction time, and he gets overtaken almost right away. But came out of the gates as pretty much as good as you can get.
As powerful as he could without jumping the start. Yeah, let's take another look at that. Really explosive here. He's ahead right away, but after that first move, Vedrik really just takes it away and stays so efficient the rest of the way through the speed route.
And it starts to sort of talk about the question of, is there an ideal size for speed climbing? And there are a few tall speed climbers, but for the most part, the fastest speed climbers we see tend to be shorter and compact. They're built like more like sprinters than the tall and lanky. It takes a little bit more time to get moving, and the route's not long enough to really accelerate into having an advantage to being tall. And you see there that the big difference is that John's got to get his foot up high and takes a long time to move that lever, whereas Vedrik just
continues to explode.
In the box of where he fits, and just, as you say, continues to explode. So I have heard and been part of discussions talking about, is there an ideal speed climber? And it tends to argue to the slightly shorter and the definitely powerful.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be too short, but more of that average height, I think, lends itself to being more explosive. At least on the men's side. On the women's side, it does seem that the women can be a little taller. But I also think that the gap in height sometimes differs a bit more between the women than it does for the men. A lot of the men kind of get to that more average height where we have some women that are like 5'2", 5'1".
Exactly.
They're kind of far away from the 5'8", 5'9" women. Sorry, everyone, not sure how that translates into the metric system. I apologize for being from the United States
You don't have to
and
apologize.
not knowing the metric system.
You don't have to apologize. I'm not going to be able to put it down in meters either. I can tell you how tall I am in centimeters, but I can't do the math on either side of it. So we're going to look at our small final, so otherwise known as the race for the bronze.
Which is still a big race.
Very
I
big
mean,
race.
a podium in a World Cup is such a coveted position. It's been so cool to go through and look at so many different stats and see how many athletes have so many podiums under their belts in each discipline. The athletes who are lucky enough to have their worst finish be you know, something less than 10th place. I'm in awe
Yeah,
of
right?
that kind of consistency and just talent. So if you can find yourself on a podium in a World Cup, you are definitely doing the right things.
Yeah, it's the word. It's almost a misuse of worst.
I
is
know,
to be
right?
in the top 10 in the world, and
It's all about perception there.
yeah, there's a deep list. We had 38 men competing and 24 women competing, and some of the sort of World Cups in Europe in years past, when it's been easier to travel and the other things we know, you have start lists, adding another 20 plus athletes on there. So the field is deep, and you've got to beat a lot of people to get in the top 10 and then even be top 6, top 5. So the podium is fantastic. 4th place is also fantastic. It's just quite as shiny. So we're going to have Patrizia will be on your left, and Miho will be on your right.
At your
Women
mark.
getting focused.
Ready?
Good start from both ladies. Miho
Miho.
moving well on the right.
Really taking off, but Patrizia trying to catch up as Miho is going to try to finish, and
A little
multiple
heart-stopping
slips.
moment. A little
Multiple
heart-stopping
slips for
moment.
both women,
Yeah.
and that's a podium position for Miho. Previously, her best World Cup finish in a speed competition was 10th, so to come out 3rd here, that has to make her feel great leading into the Olympics.
Yeah, the smile says it all. She is ecstatic.
Also moving into the bouldering this weekend, she's going to be even more excited.
Exactly. So Patrizia will be a bit disappointed. She was ahead in the middle, and then a bit of a slip. So a couple slips in a few spots. A great start from both.
Miho definitely took it away at the beginning, but Patrizia with her speed,
Was ahead in the middle.
yeah, she's more of a speed specialist, so able to get ahead in the middle, but that slip really got her. And Miho kept it together at the top.
The double
because-
clutch makes my heart stop, I tell you.
And that's where that bouldering power and like reaction time comes in, right? Really good at catching coordination moves in boulders. So not everybody can do that kind of a save like we just saw from Miho.
Absolutely.
John Brosler taking a second to make sure his starting platform laser is in the right position.
They do get to move it around the floor,
Yep.
so they put it where they want for their size and favored starting positions.
At your mark.
Yeah, everybody has a position that they like best. Marcin Jensky on the left and John Brosler on the right. Should be a really close
Ready?
race.
Great starts.
Start kind of neck and neck.
John looking good here.
Oh, big
no.
slip there. Not the best run for John Brosler. Unfortunately, he won't walk away with a podium position like he hoped, but Marcin Jensky will walk away with the bronze here.
Great work.
He was very efficient on his entire run. John Brosler did have that really explosive start again, like we saw before. He really gets out of that platform position nicely. And they were neck and neck here, both
Yes.
being very efficient, but
And
that
that's the
miss
slip.
right there for John just kind of almost, earlier we were talking about possibly being under on moves. That time he looked a little
over.
too powerful
Yeah,
there.
I was going to say, his foot came up way high of where it needed to be, and I mean, it's like coming to a dead stop.
Yep. Still threw him off his flow just enough that he wasn't able to continue moving forward. Now this will be, again, another exciting race here with Alexandra Miroswab, who's been in this position so many times, but Emma Hunt, this is her first position, or first time in this position here, but she does have that home crowd supporting her.
Yeah, so maybe a bit of nerves, but definitely nice to have that crowd behind you.
Ready?
Good starts for both of them.
Emma
Emma
looking
Hunt
good
trying
here.
to take it away there.
Oh my goodness, this is gonna be close.
And Alexandra is going to walk away with the win. But Emma Hunt with a silver medal here in Salt Lake City in her first World Cup speed final.
And put up a great fight. An
Really great
absolutely
fight.
really
That
good
was-
race against the
I
veteran.
almost felt like I couldn't breathe there. I
Just
was
for a
like, this
second.
is so exciting.
She's a great start here, and then you see them almost, I mean, they're neck and neck here in the middle.
And then Alexandra really just takes it away here.
Just,
and I think it's just the experience
Yeah.
there really pulling through, right?
yeah, there's a moment where Emma has a look down at her foot, and it looks like she slows down, and I really think that the 2/10 difference
It
was
changes
that
everything.
moment. Alexandra doesn't have to change her pace and comes away with a gold medal. Fantastic, fantastic
Very
round for Emma Hunt.
fantastic.
So this is perhaps the round we've watched the evening to see on the men's side. The two teammates from Indonesia, Kiramel and Vedrik, fighting for gold and silver and fighting for, I'm just going to say it, maybe a second world record on the weekend.
They're definitely both capable of going faster, and they've been training together, so this is a very comfortable position. So let's hope that they can make it happen.
Vedrik on your right moving really well.
Looks like he's gonna take it.
And he's got a new world record.
What a way to end the competition for Vedrik Leonardo.
5.208, a new world record here in Salt Lake City in the final for the gold medal against his teammate. I feel that that's the story you would have written looking forward to this weekend.
I mean, so exciting. He had so many great runs today, but he was just not as fast as Kiramel all day to save it for the very end. Vedrik Leonardo walking away with not only the win, but a new world record with 5.208 seconds as his teammate Kiramel Katibin takes a moment to congratulate his teammate. I mean, for Indonesian speed climbing, this is just so big. These men are so fast. The start for Kiramel was a little slower than we've seen all day, and Vedrik really just took it away.
And that's the difference. I mean, Kiramel doesn't have, I mean, he misses the buzzer at the end. It's irrelevant at that point. He doesn't have a bad run by any stretch.
Not at all.
He just goes a little slower off the start than maybe normally, and Vedrik just
a lot more powerful than he has been all day, and just so efficient, able to put it all together. So exciting to see a world record in the final, the final, big final. Like, it couldn't be any better. Another look. Let's do a slow motion look here. You see on the right, Vedrik really exploding. That bobble on the left from Kiramel, and it does. It's just very, very subtle things that happen, and they can change the entire race. But great climbing and a great representation here in Salt Lake City from the Indonesian climbers.
And I know that it's middle of the night in Indonesia, but this will be, they were saying earlier, this will be on the news in the morning. So it's great to see climbing making it past social media news outlets in the climbing specific areas. It's pretty fantastic to know that we've got national media.
Yeah, so exciting to know that climbing is just becoming more and more popular across the entire world. And with the Olympics coming up, I can't see it slowing down. Another quick look at those men's results with Vedrik Leonardo setting a new world record and walking away with his first gold medal in a Speed World Cup. So big, so exciting. In the background, you might be able to hear our MC at the venue taking a second to announce the athletes with the flower ceremony. Emma Hunt in second, Miho Nanaka in third. Alexandra Miroslav adding another gold medal to her career podiums. All of the women very excited after this awesome final. Really great to only see a couple mishaps in the speed competition in general. We never really want to see falls or false starts, so it's really nice that it only happened a couple of times. Taking a second here to now announce the men. Marcin Jensky in third from Poland. Kiramel Katibin in second from Indonesia. And Vedrik Leonardo, again, that world record holder, new world record holder. I can't believe we had two records go down today, both from Indonesia. I expect so many big things to come from these two athletes. Great to see them out here representing their country. As the speed climbing competition has finished, We'll see some of these athletes in a second. We're going to get some interviews going soon with the 2 gold medalists from the men's and women's competition, and another quick look at this wall. Remember, it is 15 meters, so that is an extremely tall wall. It's about 49 feet, and we saw those athletes get up there in 5.208 seconds from Vedrik Leonardo, and Alexandra Miroslav was in the low 7s the entire competition. It's so amazing to see how the the discipline of speed has grown and how the competition level has just continued to become more and more competitive as athletes really push themselves. Here we have a quick interview with Alexandra Miroslav.
Alexandra, congratulations winning gold here in Salt Lake City. How do you feel at this very moment?
To be honest, I didn't know what expect because I am after injury from the European Championship in Moscow last year. But I'm really happy because I feel really fast and my finger is good. So yeah, I'm pretty excited and pretty happy.
You've had so many podiums over your career.
Yeah.
You were so consistent today. Is it nervous when you step out for the final, or you're calm and ready?
I feel ready, but during the final run, I did like small mistake on the end of the road, so that's why I was a little stressed that I didn't win. But I'm really happy that I did it, and yeah, it's a special moment for me.
Absolutely. What was it like to compete in front of a crowd here in Salt Lake City?
It's awesome. Like, I think the United States, the crowd is really awesome, really nice, and everyone are so kind, so it's amazing.
Wonderful, wonderful news. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well-deserved gold medal. We hope to see you on the podium again very soon.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you.
Great to hear from Alexandra Miroslav. Another great performance from her, adding another gold medal to her career wins. Another quick look at the wall here before we go down to Pete Woods again for an interview with Vedrik Leonardo, our new world record holder and gold medalist here at the Salt Lake City Speed World Cup.
Vedrik, congratulations. A gold medal and a world record. How do you feel right now?
I feel happy today because I got a gold medal and break the world record today.
You've been training very hard over the last year with your teammate. What was it like to compete against your teammate in the final for the gold medal?
Compete with my compatriot, it's very amazing.
You look like you push each other to be faster every time. You were consistently better all day. Is that because you're beside your teammate?
Yes, and I think we come here, the mission just to break the record and not thinking about the victory.
And break a record you did. Congratulations on your world record time. It was blisteringly fast. A gold medal here in Salt Lake City. What more can we say? Amazing performance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great words from the gold medalist Vedrik Leonardo from Indonesia and the new world record holder with 5.208 seconds. So exciting to see him put up a new record and to see those athletes, both Indonesian athletes, be able to push each other in the big final. Like he said, it was great to be alongside his teammate and really be able to bring the best out of each other. They came here to break records, and they did. So we are going to take a quick moment as they prepare for the podium. But all around, wonderful climbing from the speed athletes, all of the excitement Can't believe we got to see a world record broken in the final, the big final, the most important final.
The most important final of all. I mean, you write the script and then you put it down on the table and you think, I wonder if the athletes are going to come to the event and do what we know they're capable of. And that's the thing, is the times during practice were blisteringly fast.
They were so fast, and speed climbing is so similar to the track and field sport in the sense that, you know, athletes will have times and, you know, create new marks in practice, but it's, can you put them together in a competition when the pressure's on, when you've traveled from far away, when you're not in your home country, eating the food you want to eat, that you have to wake up early and compete, or all of the things, right? So it's, can you put it together in the competition? And you don't get to see that all the time. And I can't believe we got to see this history-making moment in the qualifier and then have it happen again in the final.
Basically bookends. It was the first run of the qualifier from Kiramau that put down the new world record. I mean, and 0.2 of a second is a considerable jump on that side. So that was the bookend. That was right away at 12:35. We exploded here with the world record, and then we closed the night with the world record. I like what you're saying about it doesn't matter what you do in practice. There's a lot of sort of chatter about how fast people have run in practice, and practice is not competition, and that's why we only count. You don't get to set up everybody and be like, I'm going to go for a world record in practice. So it's all about what you do when you're here under the big lights, and these are the women that did it under the big lights today.
Jeff Robbins, CEO of the Utah Sports Commission, and Marcos Contreras, President of the International Federation.
We're going to do the presentation on the podiums.
First off, let's hear for our bronze medalist, representing Japan.
From Japan, Miho Nanaka. I assure you, there is a huge smile under the mask. And we'll get another look at these great trophies they've created here in Salt Lake of the mountain range. I love a great local trophy, and these are really, really nice looking mementos.
Yeah.
Your silver medalist from the US of A, Emma Hunt, and she must be absolutely overjoyed with a podium performance here in front of a home crowd.
100% her first podium finish in an IFSC Speed World Cup competition.
And your winner, gold medalist, Alexandra Miroslav.
Adding to her gold medals, I believe this is her 7th Speed World Cup that she has won. What a career.
What a career, and a strong performance from the Polish climbers. And she was just saying on the interview that she was injured and is coming back from a pulley injury. And I asked her, in 2019, and she said, no, in 2020. So she is coming back from an injury.
Huge congratulations to these women making it onto the podium at the Salt Lake City 2021 Speed World Cup. They came out here, did what they needed to do, and they can go home happy and get ready for tomorrow's bouldering. At least Miho will be getting ready for tomorrow's
Miho
bouldering.
will be back into her, I would say, her comfort zone.
Yeah.
She's not a speed specialist, but as you said, just improved consistently over the day and looked pretty excited every single win. You know, she turned around and kind of had that look at me go
like,
in the
"Well,
speed
I'm
round.
doing it."
What am I doing it? I'm doing the thing that, you know, I've been training to do to
And
make
it's-
that combined gold medal closer in reach.
Exactly. It's got to be a big boost going into her continued training for the Olympics this year. Same for Alexandra, being so efficient and landing in that #1 spot again as she prepares for the Olympics.
Here's your podium on the men's side. The jackets are on right away. You know, you cool down so quickly when you've been running high for an hour and a bit, coming out every round, and it's definitely not chilly here, but it's chilly enough. So in third place, the bronze medal from Poland, Marcin Jasinski.
As he takes all of the goodies that he gets while being on the podium, a medal, a trophy, probably a Yeti something in that bag.
So very happy to be standing on a podium.
And next our silver medalist, representing Indonesia. Let's hear Kiramal.
Your silver medalist from Indonesia, Kiramal Katibin, held the world record for a few hours.
Yep, that's a good chunk of time.
That's a good chunk of time. So he put up a time of 5.258 this morning. And that stood until our gold medalist, Vidrik Leonardo, also from Indonesia, put up a time of 5.20 to take home this gold medal and secure the new speed climbing world record here in Salt Lake City.
Absolute phenomenal climbing from all the athletes today, and Vedrik really keeping it together to make it all happen in the end.
And had gone slower than his teammate, you know, in times all the way through. Pulled it out when it needed to come out. Look at your podium for the men here. Speed climbing in Salt Lake City wrapping up in one day. Qualifiers in the morning. Finals just finished. Thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed speed climbing. If it was your first time, you got a really interesting look into one of the most dynamic disciplines in our sport. If you're a longtime speed fan, you were treated to about as good of a kickoff to the speed season as you could expect. Megan, we are going to come back on Sunday for Boulder semifinals.
Yep, men's and women's boulder semifinals at 11 a.m. on Sunday. And if you want to pay attention to the IFSC app tomorrow, the qualifiers will be going on, starting with the men in the morning and the women later on in the day. So you can pay attention to who might be coming to you on Sunday in the semifinal.
Absolutely. Pull up that official IFSC World Cup app. It's basically real-time updated, so you can follow along, sort of seeing who's topping boulders and who's not. I'm Pete Woods. Thanks for joining us this evening for Speed, and we will see you hopefully on Sunday for the boulder semi-final in the second weekend of our back-to-back World Cups here in Salt Lake City. Have a great night.